Good evening and salutations, my Days of Elias fans. Um, let's talk about Nancy and Clyde for a minute. So yesterday, Rafe walked in there, and today, and was like, "Yeah, where did you get that jewelry from?" Nancy is a lot of things, but among many, stupid and desperate. Okay, Nancy knew exactly what was going on the minute that Rafe asked, "Where did you get that from?" Now she had a chance to either do the right thing or the wrong thing. And this is what Chloe was afraid of. And granted, yeah, I do remember me Smith saying, Chloe mind your damn business because she's a grown ass woman. She can make her own choices and decisions. I think Chloe might actually been on to something as far as Nancy and the way her brain works. Nancy decided to lie because she knew that right then and there something was up with Clyde giving her that bracelet. So Nancy lies. Nancy's like, "Oh, my daughter gave it to me." Rafe was like, "Really? Really? Your daughter would just sit there and just give you stolen property?" And she's all like, "Well, he didn't steal it. She didn't steal it, and yada yada yada." So Rafe was like, "Okay, cool. So I'm gonna sit there and do is I'm gonna bring you down to the station. I'm gonna call Chloe. I'm gonna see what she says." Now at that point, Nancy turns around and looks at Clyde with this "help me" face. Clyde's like, "No, no, no, no. I'm the one that bought it for her. I told her to lie." So right then and there, Nancy, you're off the hook. I mean, you're stupid, but you're off the hook. He actually did the right thing. Remember I said that Nancy wasn't just stupid, she was desperate? So Nancy is not there defending him. "Oh, he didn't know. He was an innocent victim, this, that, and the third." And I'm just like, Nancy, your life and the things that you are doing is just spiraling out of control. Okay? The minute that your separation and your divorce and everything like that got done with Craig, you have just been just I don't know what you've been doing. Um she talks about, she was meant to see Marlena, and I'm like, maybe you need to sit down and talk about, maybe you need a little more therapy. Because she's not there lying for this guy, knowing that this guy bought stolen property. Okay, he's next con, got caught up in a lot of stuff, and he's out there, buying stolen property. Now, what most people do when they don't want to believe in the truth is they start throwing a bunch of what ifs. Oh, he was an innocent victim, and this, that, and the third, and starts making excuses for him. But with that being said, receiving stolen property is still considered a crime. Um, which sucks because even if you didn't know, it's still not going to go in your favor. And seeing how, Clyde is already on parole, it's a wrap. And that's exactly what ended up happening. He winds up arresting him and taking him down to the station. And Nancy's like, "Oh, well, what can I do to sit there and help you?" I was like, "Nancy, what you need to do is go back on that damn dating app and find somebody who is, not still living in that criminal life. Talk about redemption and things of that nature. And you know that this guy is up to no good. Okay? He didn't reform. You can tell that little instant right there is already a sign that he has not reformed while he was sitting there telling Marlena, "Oh, well, criminals can reform and they can change and they can be different." Now this chick is just going to sit there and ignore the obvious signs that she should just run the opposite direction. Um, you know, because of desperation. Okay, I know that's not a word, but just being desperate. That's literally what it comes down to. Evans and Smith they call in Jan, and Evans is like, "Yo, listen, I want to see my son. I want to see him right now." At first, she tries to lie. It's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? You know, that's me and Sean's baby. This, that, and the third." The minute that Evans was like, "Yeah, no, my dad told me." Orpheus. He's like, "I want to see my son. I want to see him in the next 30 minutes. Otherwise, I'm gonna sit there in town." So she has this daydream of her getting down to the prison, and Sean. I mean, Evans is all like, "Oh, I'm in love with you," and he gets a tattoo on, like, the side of his chest or whatever of her, and he's like, "I want to marry you," and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, well, of course, this dream doesn't make a lot of sense because she's crazy. Okay? She's crazy. So she gets a visit from Sierra. Before she gets a visit from Sierra. Here's the thing, Sierra and me, like, I'm normally not a fan of Sierra, but watching her call out Sean was just so great. It was so amazing because she snipped there, asked him like, "Yo, listen, dude, are you having feeling for her or whatever? Like, have you forgotten that she's the enemy? That she's the person that literally held your daughter at gunpoint? You just forgot all about that?" And he's all like, "Oh, well, she's the mother of my son, and this, that, and third, and I'm trying to make peace, and the son doesn't know, and yada yada yada." And I'm like, "Bro, you were just chopping it up with her, chopping it up with her, hanging out with her, hugging her, and everything else. Like, what are you doing? Like, did you not forget that she held a gun to your baby, to your daughter? Like, all of that, it feels like it was just all of that energy just went out the window." And that's what Sierra was there. Sierra was like, "Yo, listen, just remind you again, in case you forgot, that she is still the enemy, son or not." She went in there, um, had a somewhat decent conversation with Jan as far as her plans and things of that nature. There's one point where she goes to visit the baby, well, Jan's baby at this point, and Jan is like, "Oh, don't you look like Sean?" And she was like, No, not really." I was like, "No." Um, of course, when she left, um, Jan took Sierra's keys to the boat. So when they leave, um, at some point, Sean gets back and sees the anchor monitor in the garbage. Now, the last scene is her holding her baby. She plans on taking the boat and just dipping, just bon voyage, just going. I don't know if she actually knows how to drive a boat, so that should be pretty interesting. But yeah, I wonder, is this going to lead into the whole beyond sailing when this is the reason why they're leaving? Because I only see it ending two ways. Jan's going to be on the run. They're going to be going after her. Well, I see it a couple ways. Them staying, which I doubt that's going to wind up happening because Jan took the boat and just went God knows where. Or Jan gets caught and Ben and Sierra still leave because, well, the actors are leaving the show. So Leo is just there, just spinning it up, just living it up or whatever on somebody else's dime. And Will walks over and Will's like, where'd you get all that money from? Because you don't have a job, you don't have a sugar daddy, and where are you getting the funds from? So, Leo's like, "Yo, listen, kick rocks before I take, my drink or whatever and splash it on." And, he's like, "What are you dressed up like that for?" And, Will Smith is talking about, the funeral and everything like that. He leaves. Leo says sorry before he leaves. And then he runs in the chat. Now, I'm just like, bro, why would you walk up? I get the idea that he wants to sit there and give his condolences and things of that nature. But I'm like, Chad seems hostile on a good day. Okay? He seems hostile on a good day. Alright? He had to leave the house and he's out for a jog or whatever. He takes a breath. And Leo walks up and Leo's like, oh, I just want to sit there and say sorry, about Abigail and stuff like that. And Chad's like, yo, this whole fake I'm sorry, this, that, and the third, like, because he's like, yo, you hated my wife. So don't walk up to me now and start trying to act all nice and buddy and this, that, and the third. And at some point, he talks about his son. And Chad is like, yo, what do you know about my son? First of all, unless you actually know this person, like you're actually family, friends, or whatever with this person, don't ever, 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 ever start talking about somebody else's child. Okay? Especially if they don't like you. But even if they, even if you don't even know each other, it just feels uncomfortable to have somebody else talk about your child. And you don't know them, y'all not really on good terms or whatever, and they just start bringing up your son's name. Like it feels off. Um, and of course Leo tried to cover like, oh well, Gwen, you sit there and tell me about the kids and yada yada yada. So he's like, hey, listen, just want to give my condolences. I'm sorry, whatever. And Chad was like, all right, yeah, fine, and he just runs off. I'm like, I think that's as nice as he was gonna sit there and be. But he does go down to the police station, and he got a call from from one of Rafe's detectives, saying that they got a suspect. Now, I saw in the previews, Chad and Smith, they getting upset, thinking that Clyde did it, this, that, and third, and I'm just kind of like, why? Like why would Clyde just stab Abby? You know, I don't know if he's ever actually killed anyone before, but Clyde strikes me as the I'm just about the money. You know, Clyde would sit there and rob somebody, okay, but he wouldn't necessarily kill someone unless it was literally, you know, only option. And Abby wouldn't be sitting there trying to fight somebody for some jewels and stuff like that. She has kids, and she has money, so it's not like she can't rebuy any of that stuff. Um, but anger and grief and everything in between. Chad is not really sitting there thinking on a level. He's not level-headed right now, which is why he went off on Kate, and apologized like maybe 10, 15 minutes afterwards. Now the rest of this episode is kind of somewhat blase blah. Ben went over to Marlena's place to ask her to be the godmother. Um, got to sit there and see Will before he left. Um, it's amazing. Sierra has no idea that her keys are gone. I don't know why she actually left her purse there. Like, why would you just leave your purse there? When she went to go see so-called Sean's son or whatever. Like, she just left her purse right there. I see people do that sometimes in grocery stores. Like, they'll leave their purse somewhere, then they'll walk away to go and do something, and then they'll come back, and I'm just like, I know there are cameras and things of that nature, but I'm like, people wear masks now. Masks and hoodies and stuff like that, and I feel like people are just very careless with your stuff. I don't know. I feel like that's about it. But I gotta sit there and say that this was actually another good episode. Um, I don't know. It's just ever since Abby's death, the show just have not been hitting the same. And I get grief and things of that nature, but it just hasn't been working. It's only been the last couple of episodes where it started to get to that point of it being good again, you know? Like, even in the beginning, when you saw Chad just kind of hanging out in the room and being all mopey or whatever, I was like, well, I guess, and for the most part, I was enjoying it, but I was like, well, I guess it can't all be perfect, but I feel like at some point, hopefully, that's going to stop. Or at least settle down a little bit. But yeah, anyway, another good episode. Another good episode. So with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.